Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who saw her. Most of all, she was loved by her grandmother, who would give her anything she wanted. One day her grandmother gave her a cape of red velvet that suited her so well she would never wear anything else. So she was always known as Little Red Riding Hood. One day her mother told her, "Come, Little Red Riding Hood, here is a piece of cake and a bottle of wine. Take them to your grandmother. She is sick and weak, and they will make her feel better. Set out before it gets too hot," her mother continued. "When you walk, walk nicely and quietly. Don't run off the path, or you might fall and break the bottle, and then your grandmother won't get anything. When you go into her room, don't forget to say good morning, and don't peek into every corner. I will take good care of everything." Little Red Riding Hood said to her mother, "I'm going to see my grandmother." She gave her mother a kiss and went on her way. The grandmother lived in the woods, half a league away from the village. As Little Red Riding Hood was walking through the woods, a wolf met her. Little Red Riding Hood didn't know what a dangerous creature he was, and she wasn't afraid of him. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," said the wolf. "Where are you going? What have you got in your basket?" "Cake and wine," replied Little Red Riding Hood. "Yesterday was baking day, so my poor sick grandmother needs something good to make her stronger." "Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Riding Hood?" "A quarter of a league further on in the woods. Her house stands under 3 large oak trees. The nut trees are right below you. Surely you must know it." The wolf thought to himself, "What a tender young thing! What a nice plump mouthful! She will be better for me to eat than the old woman. I must act carefully so as to catch her." So he walked for a short time beside Little Red Riding Hood, and then he said, "See, Little Red Riding Hood, how pretty the flowers are here. Why don't you look around? I believe, too, that you don't hear how sweetly the little birds are singing. You walk gravely along, as if you were going to school, while everything else out here in the woods is merry." Little Red Riding Hood raised her eyes, and when she saw the sunbeams dancing here and there through the trees, and pretty flowers growing everywhere, she thought, "Suppose I take grandmother a fresh nosegay that would please her, too. It is so early in the day that I shall still get there in good time." So she ran from the path into the woods to look for flowers, and whenever she had picked one, she fancied that she saw a still prettier one farther on, and ran after it, and so got deeper and deeper into the woods. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Who is there?" asked the Little Red Riding Hood. "It's me, the wolf," replied the wolf. "I'm bringing cake and wine. Open the door and let me in." The grandmother called out, "I'm too weak and can't get up. Please open the door." So the wolf opened the door and went straight to the bed. He ate the grandmother and put on her clothes. Then he lay down in her bed and pulled the curtains. Little Red Riding Hood had been running around picking flowers. When she gathered enough, she remembered her grandmother and set off to see her. She was surprised to find the door open. When she went inside, she had a strange feeling and said, "Oh dear, how uneasy I feel today. Usually, I like being with my grandmother so much." She called out good morning, but got no answer. So she went to the bed and drew back the curtains. There lay her grandmother, her cap pulled over her eyes. Far over her face she looked very strange. "Oh, grandmother," she said, "what big ears you have! The better to hear with, my child." "But grandmother, what big eyes you have," she replied. "The better to see with, my dear. And grandmother, what large hands you have, the better to hug with. Oh, but grandmother, what a terrible big mouth you have, the better to eat with." And scarcely had she said this when the wolf replied, "Oh, but my dear, don't worry. I'm not going to eat you." With one bound he was out of bed and swallowed Red Riding Hood. When the wolf had finished his meal, he lay down in the bed again and fell asleep, snoring very loudly. The huntsman, who was passing the house, heard the wolf's snores and thought to himself, "I must see if the old woman needs anything." So he went into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw the wolf lying in it. "Do I find thee here, thou old sinner?" he said. "I have long sought thee." Just as he was about to fire at the wolf woke up and ran away. It occurred to him that the wolf might have eaten the grandmother, and she might still be alive. So instead of firing, he took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the sleeping wolf's stomach. After making 2 snips, he saw a little red hood shining, and then he made 2 more snips, and the little girl sprang out, crying, "Oh, how frightened I was! How dark it was inside the wolf!" The grandmother also came out alive, but she was scarcely able to breathe. Red Riding Hood, however, quickly fetched great stones with which they filled the wolf's body. When he awoke, he wanted to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he fell down and fell dead. Then all 3 were delighted. The huntsman drew off the wolf's skin and went home with it. The grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine that Red Riding Hood had brought and revived. But Red Riding Hood thought to herself, "As long as I live, I will never go on my own into the woods when my mother has forbidden me to do so."